Ever get the feeling that anytime a reporter stands right here to talk about Americans going to the polls, they always say something like, it's expected to be one of the most consequential elections of a generation. And they've been saying that a lot lately. So forgive me, because the 2024 presidential election is expected to be one of the most consequential of a generation. For real. Donald Trump has already said, if elected, he'll seek vengeance on those he sees as his enemies. Think about that. So, what to watch for in the weeks and months ahead? How about 4 things? Number 1, as ever, the economy. You know, when you think about it, Joe Biden's had a pretty decent first term on that front. It's created jobs, built bridges, fixed roads, boosted clean energy, and more. He calls it Bidenomics. And you'd think it's the stuff of a slam dunk re-election campaign. But is it? According to a recent poll, more than half the country thinks Biden is failing on the economy. Why? In part, inflation. Yes, it's down since last year, but every voter in the country still feels the pinch because prices are up. Groceries cost more than they used to, and a lot of big-ticket things like cars and healthcare, for example, not to mention mortgage rates. Fact is, voters almost always tend to blame whoever's in charge on such stuff, and in this case, that's Joe Biden. Every month, the U.S. releases the latest data on the inflation rate. If that doesn't keep dropping, and if prices don't follow, that's bad news for Joe Biden. Number 2, age and enthusiasm.
Would you be running for president if Trump wasn't running?
I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
Look, there's no denying it. Joe Biden is old. At 81, he's the oldest U.S. president ever. Here he is 3 years ago.
I've always believed we can define America in one word: possibilities.
Here he is now.
Now, we need to evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships.
Voters have noticed. Another poll says 3/4 of Americans think he's too old to be president. And even though Donald Trump is almost as old, it somehow seems less of an issue with him.
Biden's not too old. That's not his problem. He's too incompetent.
So watch what that means for voter enthusiasm when it comes to Joe Biden. Does he excite people? Does he motivate them to get out and vote? Or is he relying on people getting out to vote against Donald Trump? That's risky. So keep an eye on the first primary that really matters to Joe Biden, South Carolina, next month.
Thank you, South Carolina!
It's the state where Biden's campaign took off in 2020, and it's the place he's counting on to kickstart 2024. A tepid South Carolina would be a worrying signal for Joe Biden. Number 3, Nikki Haley. Yes, Donald Trump is still far and away the front runner for the Republicans, but if there's one Republican who some think might have a chance to turn him back, it's the former governor of South Carolina.
We just have one more fellow we got to catch up to.
The big test for Nikki Haley is the primary in her home state late next month. If she somehow beats him there, who knows?
So how do I win, right? That's the question.
But if Trump wins big in her home state, or maybe if he even comes close, goes the thinking, she's done, Trump's in. So watch that one carefully.
They've been talking about the Haley surge. So she goes up 2 points, I go up, I think 10 points.
Number 4, Donald Trump. His legal troubles are well known. He's got multiple court dates coming up, but watch for one in particular, March 4th. That's the first day of his federal criminal trial here in Washington for trying to overturn the 2020 election. It happens to also be the day before the biggest day of the primary season, Super Tuesday. So if, let's say, Trump begins a big criminal trial on a Monday, and if on the very next day he still wins millions of votes in multiple states, well, then all bets are off on everything the rest of the way to Election Day, November 7th. to be clear. There are a lot of ifs in all of this. But here's one certainty. As Joe Biden readies for whoever his opponent will be, the time before the election is now short. These next few months will go by quickly. So there you have it. 4 things to watch for in U.S. politics this year. Easy, huh? So straightforward. If only.